Hello, my peeps. Tracey here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, the paper pusher, and currently obsessed with advent calendars. Truth be told, I'm always obsessed with advent calendars. I think they're a fun way to go. So you know when Stampin' Up! Came out with their advent calendar this year, which was the first time that I'm aware of that they did it. First time in the 14 years I've done Stampin' Up! Um, I decided that I was going to do this class where, because the stuff in the advent calendar is not Christmas themed. So once Christmas was over, let's start playing with the stuff. Now, full disclosure, I opened my calendar in November and started playing with the stuff right away and have been having a blast. But anyways, I digress. So I set up this whole class. Now, I still have one more of these kits left if somebody is interested. Send me a message. I'll send you the link with all the details and everything. The PDF is going to be available for, I don't know, indefinitely, I guess. If you don't want the like paper consumables. And it's a pretty beefy little PDF. Mine has writing all over it, but it shows you all the projects. There's a couple extra bonus ones. There's some, masking. So I was getting this package already, and if you've crafted with me before, you know that you gotta have table treats. So I needed to make a treat. Now we're doing this all by Zoom. Like once a week, we're meeting on Zoom. We had the first one last night. It was great. And we're going to put 3 projects together at a time over like the 4 Tuesdays in January. Yesterday was just to kind of see each other and chat and make sure everybody knew what to expect for next week. So I wanted to, here I'll show you. I wanted to make sure everybody understood. So those that ordered the consumable package, not just the PDF, got this box. This is the one that's left. And it has all the pieces prepped and everything for you. And you'll notice in the little corner here, there's a little advent calendar. Because if you're having an advent calendar class, you must have an advent calendar treat. Okay, that's how my brain works. So yesterday was the 30th, and we met, and so you'll notice there is no chocolate in there. But yeah, I was just, when I made this, I was so stoked because it was just so cute. I love cute, and it was so cute. So next Tuesday on the 6th, and yeah, the rest of them are full. I'm curious to know if anybody in the group has figured out the question mark yet, but we'll just see how that goes. Because I was talking to a different friend, not in the group, who had not seen them, about these advent calendars and how cute I thought they were. Because seriously, I got all excited about the cute. She asked about them, and I made her some for her family for Christmas. So this is the Christmas version. And I did stamp on the back one of each of the 6 different symbols so they could tell whose calendar was whose. This one just has ribbon on the top. This one has this. I can't even remember now. I think it's the newest set that goes with the punch, this matching punch. I can't remember what it's called though. Wishing you good things. Like what a fantastic sentiment that is. So today I'm going to show you how I made it. And when we're all done, we'll have a 3rd version to look at. Because here's the thing. It started out as an advent calendar. It's very cute. As I was sitting here waiting for all the technology and things to do, and I was staring at it and I thought, other than like a countdown, like it is just really a treat holder for 6. And in theory, I should have made it twice the size, which I totally could. Because the 12 days of Christmas, you actually get it, like you start day 1 is Christmas Day, and then you go till January 6th. So you could actually give it to somebody for Christmas, and then on the 12 days of Christmas, up till January 6th, you would have a treat. So you could do that. But anyways, as I was looking at it, I also thought you could put like little hangers and clothespins and onesies and stuff, and make this into like a dresser with baby stuff in it and use it for like a shower favor or anything you can put. You just need to be able to think of 6 little things to put on it. This one has 6 different colors of boxes. That's the main colors that we're using for all the projects in the advent calendar because that's the colors in the DSP. The Christmas one, I closed the picture. I just stamped and die cut 6 different images. Did they have to be different? Probably not. I guess you're going to find out next time. Or when I finally show you today's because they all have the same one. Anyway, well, let's have some fun. Who knows what you could use this for? It is just for 6 treats. It occurred to me now you could also put it this way. I set mine, actually we'll do it this way just so it makes more sense when I open it. I set mine to open, like they open from the bottom because gravity and all and keeping it shut. But you could do it sideways and then they open this way. If it looks more like whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I'm not really sure what else. But anyways, let me know what you make and let me know what the options are. I'm sure there's lots. Okay, so here's the main components. You need one of the bases and you need 6 of the boxes. Now I've already started, so I'm just on the last one. I am working on a PDF as well. And you'll notice on the PDF, so I've got these, it's not very clear, is it? I've got these like little green shading parts where you trim away your piece. And then the first picture, this I started, it's not quite finished yet. This first picture will show you what it's actually supposed to look like. But you'll notice on here, it just tells you where to trim. Now, and this one seems like a lot, it's not really, but there is no waste in crafting, right? So you'll notice, can you guess what's on the what I'm using for handles on this advent calendar? Could it perchance be stars? But yeah, so the pieces that are just going to be cut off anyways, just punch stuff out of them, cut them, save them for other projects, you know, whatever. I lost my scissors. There we go. Okay, so first we're going to work on the base. And what I've done is I've taken, it says 6 3/4. 6 3/4, is that right? Why does that feel like a weird number? I think it's 6 1/4. Or not a quarter. I think it's 6 1/8. By, I think is what I did. By 7 1/4. Yes. Excuse me for a moment while I correct this. I used the same sort of template, and I realized this is the size. I think those numbers that are on there right now are left over from, yes they are, from the note card box, the first project that we're doing in the Advent calendar class. So, but I've made about 15 of these now. So I know the numbers off by heart. Okay, so 6 1/8 by 7 1/4, and you're basically scoring in at 1 2 inches on all 4 sides, right? So, and then I'm going to make some cuts. Now, the way I like to do any kind of box, and I don't know if there's any like scientific theory behind this, it just in my head seems to work better. Like when I look at it, I think, yeah, that worked better. So you could make a box. Yes, this won't screw anything up. So I could make this box like this, right? And just fold it over once. And so I'm going to make sure I'm not going to screw up what I'm trying to do. Okay. So I could just fold this over, make a little tab, glue it onto the next side, right? Right, like that's how that's a very simple box, right? But because this is holding all the other stuff, or like in the case of the note card box where you're going to be putting things in and out of it, I like it to be a little more durable. So we're doing it in 2 layers. So we're going to do 2 layers and fold this over so we have a nice sturdy side. So we want to tuck our tabs into here because that just makes it even more sturdy. Now you could cut 2 tabs and fold them up, and 2 tabs and fold them up. But I find it, so I make sort of like a not windmill. What are the things you blow? The pinwheel. I make it sort of like a pinwheel. So I make this tab going this way, this tab going this way, this tab going this way, and this tab going this way. Because then as I'm tucking them in, each tab is sort of pulling the corner closed as it goes around instead of just pulling it in like 2 directions. So hence the reason I do mine the way I do them. Just make tabs. But I'm going to show you. And you'll notice it is quite easy. Right? So you're cutting off the score line because the score line will give you a jagged edge. This is the side, so you want a straight edge here. Now I start a little farther in because I'm actually going to cut off 2 tabs. But this is just wedging so that you have enough room when you fold to account for the score lines not being 100%. So nothing is like sticking out above. I should do one without wedging just to show you what I mean. But and if you cut this all the way through like you're supposed to, they don't hang there. There we go. This one is a little bit, right? So we're just going to cut this, and then I'm going to cut this extra. Now here's the thing. You could leave this, and when you fold it over, you could have even more. But I find it makes it awkward, and I want my edges to be as clean and neat, and so it's not really required, so I just cut them off. So there's one tab, right? So I cut this tab, so I go over here, and I do the same thing. Cut off the score line. So the score line is like on this side of the scissors. Turn it a little bit, and because I just want like a little wedge here, I'm starting over here because I got to like go across the whole thing. So that's why it seems like I'm starting so far in, but it's because once I get to the actual part that I'm keeping, it's a lot shallower than it looks. I don't know why I never seem to go all the way into there we go, into the score line on that one. And like I said, this wedging is just to make a little space so that if when you fold it, it's not exactly 90 degrees and, you know, 100% fold, you don't end up with it coming up over the edge of the box. And in this case, it would be down into the box. It would make your fold messy. So you don't want that. Then we cut that off. Then we go over here. So this is why, you'll notice, I punch stars out of these. Now once I start cutting these wedges, and I'm probably making some pretty small pieces, but if I had these ones would, I mean, there's some big chunks still coming off of here that you can use for whatever little bits and pieces you need. Again, there is no waste in crafting, is there? Okay. Could have done a couple of these ahead of time, I guess, but that's okay. It goes pretty quick. Again, cut the score line off. Wedge. Wedge. So I'm not even doing it. Wait till you see me do the box. Ooh. Like I said, I made 15 of them. Each one has 6 boxes. I was just like snip, 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 whipping through them. And I only have, well, actually, that's not true. I have a spare one, so I was only going to show you one of them. But yeah, you'll see that once you get going, you just start to get a rhythm, and away you go. Okay, so now we're going to burnish all these lines so that we have it going where we want. This is nice and easy. I tend to use tear and tape. You could use liquid glue. Make sure those are all done. For the ease of video, I can do this though. So, and with tear and tape, it's easy too because you can do it all ahead of time. Yeah, this is fairly easy. This box would actually probably stay together, especially once you put the other pieces in it, without any tape at all. Because I've noticed when you, well, and I'll show you to give you an idea before I actually pull the tape off so I can show you. When you just sort of dry fit it, it stays together fairly well, right? So like I said, I kind of pinwheel it. Doesn't matter where you start, how you do it. So this is the tab. So I'm going to fold this tab in, fold this side over. I'm going to fold this tab in, fold this side over, fold tab in. Now this is the one where you want to actually get both tabs going at the same time just because it's easier. Fold it over, and then we have this tab and this. And that's how the box goes together. And like I said, it fairly well stays. But we're going to glue it anyways because we want it to really stay. So again, tuck your tab in. Oops, that's the wrong tab. This one, because this is the one with the glue on it. And just fold it over. Now here's the secret, I think. If you just fold it over and close it, it's probably going to work. And one of the ones I did was not quite as clean. But the way I measured this, I want this like snug. I don't want big gaps around anywhere. I have little bits. You can only do so much with the cardstock, but I don't want big gaps. So to me, the trick is you're lining up this corner and this corner. Hold it up there a bit, like this. And you want it as tight as you can in. This will have a tendency to pull out, and you'll get a little bit of a gap. And it's not the end of the world. It's just going to make your box slightly bigger. Because if you think about it, the measurements you did are, excuse me, are just a straight line, right? There's no like give in them. There's no curve. So you basically want these to join like 2 straight lines joining to make the measurements work. So again, I've tucked a tab in between. I'm starting to fold this over, and I'm pushing basically this finger and this finger. I'm pushing these two so they're as snug as possible when I fold this over. Now, this tear and tape I have is right along the inside of this flap. So once I get it in place, then I just, squeeze it shut. Okay. So again, when you get to the last one, you want to tuck both tabs in at the same time. Not that you can't once you do this, you just got to like mangle everything to get it in. So and this one doesn't matter till the end. So we're doing this. We're pushing this corner as close together as we can, folding that over. And so even with liquid glue, which tends to be messy, and the reason I don't use it, this is fairly easy, like folding and marking and stuff. So even with liquid glue, this is going to be a fairly clean project. When you get to the last one, same thing. We're just pushing our corners together, making sure tab is tucked in, and we have a tray. Voila, we have a tray. Okay, so now we need to make boxes to go in said tray. So again, I've shown you on the picture here where to trim off the parts. And I'll show you because I have a couple. Here's my little displays to show you things. So the first one when I was making, I made the pink square, which was for the other advent calendar. And here, I'll show you this one first, I guess. Let's dump all the candy out. I learned something about the candy that goes in them too. So I'll also show you that what I found was easiest. I'll show you one on the other one when we're finished because it's the Tracey's a nerd and has too much time closure. But I found what was easiest if whatever you put on the front, you just pop it up on a dimensional, and then you have something to grab onto like a handle, right? But when I was first doing this, I hadn't 100% figured that out yet. So I was making these squares, and I thought, well, instead of actually I think the very first one I did, I don't think I kept it. I cut the tabs off, like the two side tabs off, and I only kept the front tab. But I found that it didn't close as tight. So definitely having 3 tabs, and I'll show you something with the other one, definitely holds it closed tighter. So this one, I've only got 2 tabs in it. Because I found that it also works if you take this tab and you just kind of fold it outward instead of inward. And this one's been manhandled a lot. You end up with, I just want to get the right direction going here. You end up with a little, a little like piece to grab, right? So you could put it in like this, and you see this little like, tab that's sticking out now. So in theory, you could put them all like this, and you could pull your little guy up. Or, like I said, I did mine, it just seemed gravity-wise to work. But you could do it where they're sideways, and you can pull them open and close them sideways. That would work as well. The thing with this is you don't get as clean as the front because these things are all just kind of like sticking out there. So I decided I would just put them in, and I'll show you when we get there, and use a dimensional and something. Now when I made the first box, here, let me do some cuts. So we're making a box out of this, right? So this piece is 4, nope, this piece is 3 across by 4 1/4. And just let me get some of these lines here to give you, I'm trying to, I can't totally do it without screwing up the end result, I don't think. So the idea was, I can get some of it then. The idea was, I like to cut without folding. Okay, so the idea was that we're going to do this, right? And we're going to make a box. And we were doing the same thing on the top, and then you just kind of cut some pieces off. So this is what I originally did. And you will notice that's what I did on these ones. So I made this solid box. But what it ended up doing is making this part have 3 layers of cardstock instead of 2. And you can't see it as well just on the like zooming in like that. But when you put them together in the box, let me just see here if I can go to my zoomed in version. Make a little adjustment there. So, that's a little close. These are closer together and a little bit neater, whereas these ones have way more like stuff around them, which means you're gonna have to accommodate the size of your box. Like if I went to put a third one in here, okay, spoiler alert, it's got a star on it. You already pretty much guessed that from the other one, right? This minute I poke my finger right through it in the process. When you start to do that, this one's smaller. But if I started having all of these this double, this is going to start to get really snug, and I'm going to start to bow out my box as I try to do it. So I decided, yes, you could. This is a way more solid. Like I'm squishing this box really hard, and I'm so much so that I just popped it open, right? But it's not, the box is not collapsing. This box, you can tell, has a lot more give to it because I've cut it down. But the boxes are going to be glued in, so it's not like anybody's going to see them. Oh, spoiler. There we go. Okay. The other thing I'm going to show you, you'll notice when we're doing it on the other one. So this box closes nice, right? Nice and flat. This one doesn't close quite as well. The one corner is kind of sticking. It's not staying in, and it's not fully going in. And the trick to that is if you look at this, you'll notice in this corner, there's not as much clearance. Like this is why you miter, right? Excuse me, just hit puberty right there. So you see when I miter the corners and there's a bit of space here? Well, this one I didn't miter as well, and there's not as much space. So as you're cutting these, and you can even see it when you look at it this way, this is supposed to be angled in. This one is fairly flat. Just go back and cut a piece out, right? It's just because you're not leaving enough room. So now this thing goes down and goes flat. It's kind of hard to see, but it does go flat because there's just too much space. It's the same in the back. If you haven't mitered in enough, this thing doesn't want to like go in all the way to close. And if you want these to stay closed and not be popping open all the time, definitely just trim up your flaps and make your miters better. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so what we're going to do though is, so in order to do that, these 4 pieces here would be the parts that we fold around to make the box, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut each one of them in half. Okay? And this one, because I already made some lines on. and it's actually half or less. That one I cut a little bit less, but it really doesn't matter. Nobody sees this part, and it doesn't, seriously, I didn't even measure. You noticed that, right? So we're going to cut those off. And then this is going to be the top of the box here. So we're going to cut down the sides, and this is about 1/4 of an inch to match. But unless somebody takes the box out and compares these, you're never going to know the difference. So this is to get, and we're going to miter these. So this is what we're going to end up with, right? So this is the side of our box, and this is our little flap. So I'm not going to, you can look at the picture and you can do it afterwards. Once I get it done, you'll see. And I can do a second, I do have one other one ready. And I'm not putting any care at all, let's face it, into, I need this for my project though. So like, I'm actually going to use this one, but you'll see how I'm just trimming these out. I'm cutting off the score line because we don't want that. Just a minute. And now I have my 4 pieces. So these are my, instead of having 2 full sides, these are my little partial sides. But again, this is all going to be too crowded. So I got to miter these tabs as well. And as you can see, I'm doing it with much measuring and scientific precision. And you'll see why in a minute, but it really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see these parts. You just need to clear out some of the bulk to make them, they hold together no problem. You just got to clear out some of the bulk in it so that your box is nice and flat and fits together and looks prettier. Because all this extra stuff, just like I said, it makes your box thick, and then you can see, you don't want to see how it's made, right? Like you don't want to see the sides and the pieces that went together. And so there we go. Now some of these pieces are big enough. You could punch out of them. Some of them are not, obviously. But so yeah, it seems like you cut off a bunch, but maybe not. So now, all I need is glue. And again, you can use white glue if you want. Or liquid glue, I guess. I don't know why I said white. Although I think most liquid glue is white. I guess some of it's clear. So you can use the liquid glue. And we just need, that's where the only place we need adhesive. Now we're going to start, oops, I didn't score all my pieces. So we're going to fold and burnish all of our lines. And yeah, it's definitely easier to do it after you've trimmed everything. I didn't trim this very well, and I got just a little nubbin. We don't want a little nubbin. We got to clean that out. Do it without cutting off the entire flap. There we go. And then we got those ones. Okay, so everything is folded and burnished. Ta-da! Okay, so this is the back, right? Because the lid is coming up over the back. So the part with the lid, you know, is the back. So we're going to do it first because of the next step. So I'm going to pull these off. And again, everybody do how you want. Yes, I pull off way more adhesive tape than what I'm actually sticking first, but it always seems to work. We're going to fold these over. Okay, so this is my tab. Goes on the back of this piece. This tab on the back of this piece. So I'm folding this one up, and I want to make sure, and it does feel sometimes like you're twisting the box, but it works out in the end. So I want to make sure that this edge is even with this edge, right? Now this is one of those places where if you didn't take some of this out, when you make this fold, if this folds out perfectly straight, it sticks up, right? So I don't have any of that problem because I have wedged it off on both sides. So now I'm doing this one, right? I'm taking it over here. Let's see how close I can get. I'm trying to get close enough to the camera, but still be able to see what I'm doing. So you notice that the corner here, right, like this little folded corner, I'm trying to nestle it in right into this corner underneath where the lid is. So there we go. Now these are going to overlap just a tiny bit because I didn't cut straight. So I'm just going to, and look at that. Like I have this one tiny little bit, but this is the beauty of tear and tape versus glue, I guess, because I can see what I'm doing. But, so let's go back. And if it had overlapped, would it have made a difference? Probably not at all. But because I can change it, I am. Okay, so I've now stuck both of the back pieces on. Now, you want to stick both of the front pieces on as well. And you can see it's all like naturally trying to do it for you. But here's what I found. If I do this and I close it, the tendency to make this too tight is there because there's nothing stopping me. So the reason we do the back ones first is before we do these ones, I'm going to fold my lid shut, and I'm going to pop it in, There we go. So I gotta do it this way. So I'm gonna take my lid and I'm gonna fold it in, right? And I'm gonna push this front piece right here. Now if I hold my lid right on this corner, so I'm putting a little bit of pressure on my thumb and my middle finger right on this corner. This is now holding the lid nice and closed, nice and snug. I don't want it to be any tighter than that. So now, I'll just do one because I just do it. I'm going to fold this one over. And I'm still holding pressure here. So when I push on this, I'm not pushing this too tight for the lid. And then I'm going to take this one off. Maybe. There we go. So I'm just going to get everything reset again because I let go of it. So I'm going to make sure that everything is where I want it to be. Lid is nice, but not too tight. And I'm going to fold this one over. Now I can just pop this open because there's nothing on it right now, but it comes out easy enough. And then I'm going to squeeze these closed because you want to make sure they're nice and tight. But now when I go to put the lid in, I know that this box is the exact right size. Because if I had squished it like without anything to stop me, I could have made this tighter. This lid doesn't go in straight. It doesn't stay up, right? It snowballs the whole rest of them. So yes, we pull this off. Now, as you know, I have stars on the other ones. So I just punch these out and put a bit of, you could use I don't know if a glue dot's big enough. I just put a chunk of dimensional on the back because I want it to be up off of here so that I have something to grab onto. So the other ones I put the numbers, anyways, just let me finish here. I'll show you some other ideas. So this one I'm just kind of dropping down. I want it centered. That's a little bit low. Okay, so I want it centered. So I got to make sure though that you go like this and you squeeze. You give this a very good, because the first ones I was putting them on very delicately. And a couple of times when I went to use this to pull up as a handle, I pulled it off because I hadn't like given the dimensionals a good chance to connect to both whatever shape I had plus the box. So now when I put it down, now I have my handle. Okay, so I'll show you because I was trying to think of other ways to do this. So this is in the Tracey has too much time category. Magnetic closure. So I didn't, this is not actually a magnetic closure, but I have a magnetic handle on here that pops it open. I've used these for another, anyways. So you want to get fancy, you can get fancy. So this is a glue dot with a little magnet. I think I put, oh, I didn't. These little magnets that I have. Now this is a stack of like 10 of them. They're a millimeter thick, I think. Right? So these little guys. So I just put, glue dot, magnet, glue dot, and then the little star. And it, even without using the magnet, it is still lifted up just enough. So, but anyways, that's how we did it. So that's how you get your boxes. So then, you have 6 of them. Now, one of these times, maybe I'll make one with all the same colors. But hey, why not? Why would I do that? Can I do, no, I was going to say, the one thing I never tried, I guess, but just a minute. So because I'm not keeping these here. I'm not too worried about it, but make sure when you put them in, seriously, puberty all of a sudden. I guess you could do half and half. That's kind of cool. But make sure when you put them in, when you're actually like finally putting them in, you make sure which way the thing opens and you get them opening the way you want. The reason that we're going to do this next step is because if not, when you go to open the box, chances are you're just going to pull the whole box out, right? Like they're not, the boxes are nice and tight enough in here. Not so, you don't want them so tight that you buckle the boxes or the tray that they're in, but they're not tight enough that, I'm thinking one of these might open, but not one of them does. No, pretty much, oh, this one, nope. Yeah, all the boxes basically come out. So what we have to do is we have to fasten them in there. So all I did, and this one I'm just going in a pattern. You can tell by looking which is like top and bottom and side to side, because the top and the bottom have the tabs on them. Now, can you tell which way the box opens though without looking? No. So this one, I used glue on all of the ones I made, just because tear and tape. I find with tear and tape, like if I open this up, if you want to use tear and tape, seriously, just a bit. I have to have a sip. My voice won't stop cracking. Puberty is a bugger. I wasn't expecting it at almost 59 years old. So if I put tear and tape on the bottom of this box and put it in here, and it would work. I mean, I could do it. You would have to use like your bone folder or something and go like this, because you got to be able to make sure you push the tear and tape down. I find with glue, like with the liquid glue, I can push on the box and I get the connection. I don't have to necessarily push with my bone folder, although I could. Okay, so I know this is how this is opening, right? And I want mine. Actually, you know what? Just for I lined these up the other way. What the heck? I was going to say just for beeps and giggles, let's do it sideways. So they open sideways like an advent calendar. You could do it so they pull down. I don't know. I kind of like the top way, but we're going to go sideways because in reality, most of them open like a door. So what you're going to do is you're going to stick some glue, tear and tape glue, whatever, however you want to do it, on the bottom. And I got all my stuff in the way now. And we're going to put it in. And we're going to hold it up against the bottom. And what I found was, because if you push right in the center, all you're going to do is push the flap in, right? So push on the corners and the edges, and this box will hold. And then I find if you like go on the edge of the table or something like that, like you can push the box into the glue instead of the glue into the box. So version 1. Here's version 2. Stick a bunch of glue in the bottom of your box. I guess I should have had these ready, but... And then, oh, I'm doing it sideways. And then push your other dudes in. Now I am doing... Okay, so I'm doing all the doors sideways. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm only doing half at a time, because I want to make sure that these are fairly straight, because it will bother me if they're not. Just like this is out of whack. So if I have to, I'm going to put a new dimensional, but I might be able to just peel this up. Nope, I'll have to fix that afterwards. I got to move that over a little bit, because lined up the other way it was fine, but it was a little low, so that's not going to work. Okay, so this time, because I'm going to do all three at once, I'm just going to pop these open just enough that I can tell how they open. So I can put them in the right way. Now, do I want them all opening like to the right, or do I want to open... Oh, you know what? I'm going for it. So this time I'm going to do them so they open... Like these doors open like this, and these doors open like this. Why? Because. So I'm just going to put some more glue on the bottom. And we're going to pop these in. Now these should, like I said, these should be nice and snug, but not so much that you can't get them in without bending things. And then before the glue is totally set, just kind of give it a look and make sure you're all kind of snug. And then, yeah, push on the corners. And if you push in the lids at this point, it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, hold on to the box like this. And I'm just kind of rubbing it. So I'm just doing this on the edge of the table, right? With the bottom of the box, because that will help push the glue against the bottom of the boxes. You don't need to leave it very long. And those boxes are going to be stuck down enough. Let me just make sure that your lid's going to open. If they're not, open the lid, take out your little thing. And if you want to be just like better safe than sorry. Oh, I put that one in the wrong way. Well, here you go. This is going to be a fun adventure because they're going to open different ways. I should have made them all open different ways. That would have been funny, actually. I wonder if it's too late to get... Now that I said it, I'm going to do whatever I want. Okay, so I'm just going to make them all open different ways just to keep the person guessing. So now I'm just pushing them down, though, because... Okay, so I got... Oh, see, that can't open the same way. Oh, but see, that one's pretty securely stuck down now. I might just be stuck with that one. That one's not coming up easily, and I don't want to wreck the thing. There you go. So now we have a new fun way of doing it where they all open a different like whichever direction they want. Okay. So now you have your box made, and it's lots of fun. Now you can... Here, I'll do it because I have them all open. Now you have to fill it, and then you have to decorate. I forgot to say, before you started folding your box up, you could have stamped all over it. I told you I stamped on the back like an ID. You could put a tag on the back that you can write on or whatever. If you wanted to stamp on this, or I guess because this is Secrecy Heat Emboss, you could have done that to begin with as well. Now what I will show you, though, is what I learned. So my original intention was to put some Hershey's Kisses in. If you're wondering how big these squares are, it's a 1-inch cube. But Hershey's Kisses fit just like a dream, like they're meant to. Can I get 2 Hershey's Kisses in a square, you ask? No. I never tried it before, but no. So And that was the intent, was just I was going to put a Hershey's kiss in each square. Now, the beauty of Hershey's Kisses is they're just small little treats. Like, that's what this is designed to be, right? I can tell you when all the doors are open at once, it's really hard to see what you're doing. But the beauty of Hershey's Kisses is there's 87 flavors. I bought my son some snickerdoodle ones because we like snickerdoodles, the cookie, right? Turns out they're white chocolate, which he wasn't impressed with to begin with. And they have like little crispy chunks of something in them. Now, I love white chocolate. It's my favorite. So I thought they were great. He thought they were okay. But anyways, you can put all sorts of different ones. I love these ones. The peppermint twist ones. I don't even have 6 treats, so I might as well put whatever I want in these ones. Okay, so Hershey's, the ones that fit the best. These little Lindor, nope, these are Lindt or Lindor. Which one are they? Lindor. These tiny little Lindor balls, they fit perfectly as well. The knockoff little, chocolate balls you would get in the store, they're slightly bigger. They would also fit. It turns out, because I have samples, this thing could be 10 years old. So whatever you do, don't ever try to eat anything out of this calendar. But this is just like your standard. If you wanted to make it for Easter, you could put like a little chick and a bunny and this Easter set that I have, that I will be making stuff with for our class on the 6th of February. Let me just look and see. Yeah, see? So this is it. So I probably could fit like the little chick, a little egg, a little carrot, a little tulip, a little bunny, little flowers. Like, you could put all sorts of things and make them Eastery. So yes, it turns out Easter egg fits just fine in the little square. Gotta get that closed. These little candies, which I seem to recall tasted really good. They don't. Well, actually, this one is just very strong. I think the ones that are green, that are spearmint, might be the ones I like better. But so these little candies, which I didn't have any. Oh, yes, I do. Just a minute. You have to do a little bit of maneuvering with the plastic wrap on them. But once you get it in sideways and kind of tuck the plastic in, they fit as well. Just a minute. I'll show you what doesn't fit. What spoiled my plan. Just a minute, because I thought about it. Because I'm trying to give you an idea what size. So in case you don't have those little rolly things, how about a good old Werther's? Werther's are a bit bigger and a bit longer. Werther's will fit. Nice. Okay. I'll take this one out just because it happened to be what came out. What does not fit, though, much to my disappointment, the Reese's. So this, I was going to make one of these for my son. So we did get some like advent calendar treats that were a mix of things. One of them was the York peppermint patties. They definitely don't fit. Now, if you were giving this to your kid or something, and you could put unwrapped candies in it, some of the little minis would probably work. Like, there's a smaller peanut butter cup than this, but the mini that's wrapped is this one, and it's just too big. There's no way of turning that thing and that it's going to fit in there. So if that helps you figure out what goes in it, I hope that helps. Okay, so now we have all the stuff in it, and we just have to pull up all the ones that I've just squished a little bit now. So you could do, like, if you were doing this for like the countdown to, I don't know what day Easter is. Let's say Easter's like the 3rd. No, let's not go the 3rd. Let's say Easter's the 7th. So you could do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leading up to Easter with little treats in them or something. You could easily put a number over top of this, like just the die cut numbers and stuff. Like I said, you can. This is just an old mini punch I have. I just stamped the numbers. Sorry, now I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. I just stamped the number on the cardstock and then punched it out and put a thing behind it. Because I have them left over, these are 2 of the, I made extras. I wasn't counting properly. So I have, this is like the little Santa. This one was even smaller. Like, it could have been a little bit bigger, but really you could double stack if you want your little things there. Not that these 2 go at all, but anyways, that's what I had. I had just like, these are just the mini punch, an old retired punch. Actually, I think the new punches have a star in them now, the little Christmas trio. Right? So, sorry, my sneeze rattled everything loose. Last thing to show you. If you want, you can put a little dude on it, right? I don't know that you could can't really put it on the front. I guess you could put letters that spell somebody's name or words, a 6-letter word, I guess, but you could spell like, I could Tracey. I think as I read it, I would recognize it as my name. I could also just purposely mix up the letters so that it, right? But if you had a 6-letter name or a 6-letter word, it would work in here. This is what I did on the Advent calendar one. Like I said, I just popped up a little thing on top. Because when it's sitting, you see that very well. The Christmas one, I tied on too. So I'll show you how I did that. Because this one is very generic and I just have it. So, okay, so this is a 20-inch piece of ribbon. And I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to mark the halfway point at 7 inches. There's no significance to that other than I just need to remember where the halfway point is. And then I find if I put a piece of tear and tape on the bottom, right in the center, sorry I pulled that off and then right before I showed you, right in the center, I just put a piece of tear and tape. So now, and because this box happens to be the way it is, see this one in here with this candy, the little plasticky things are not making it close as nicely as I want to. So I'm just going to pull that out. Besides which, like I said, it doesn't taste as good as I remember. So I have a halfway mark here, easy to figure out, right? So I'm going to put the halfway mark of this on the 7 because I know that's the halfway mark of my ribbon. Now, ribbon and tear and tape is awesome because you can slightly reposition a little bit if you need to. So I made that slightly crooked, but it's also nobody's going to look at it. So I put it on the bottom because now it'll keep it from constantly falling off. Plus it just makes it easier when I go to tie it. I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a bow. Now, here's my other best trick ever for tying a bow. Take your glue dots. If you have the patience to wait, you could put a little dab of glue and then wait for it to dry. I preface that with, if you have the patience to wait, use a glue dot. So, and I'm going to put this right in the center. So again, I'm going centered this way and I'm going centered that way. And I'm just going to pop that little glue dot down. And then I'm going to tie so that the middle, the very middle of my ribbon is right over top of that glue dot. And I'm just going to pull it nice and snug and push my ribbon into the glue dot. There. Now, you know how you're always trying to get someone to hold the thing so you can tie the bow and it doesn't all come loose? Well, there you go. That's how you do it. And then we make our loops. The Christmas one, the one in the picture, I just tied a knot on the top. This one now has a bow. So now there you go. You got all the different versions. You can stamp on them. You can pop up a little label on it. You could just stick that label straight down, I guess. Sorry, I'm just fussing with my bow now to try to get the 2 loops even and to make the bow the way I want. Yeah. Oh, here, I'll show you another little. Actually, no, I won't because that's not how I want to end it. And then I'm just going to cut these 2 off like this with my ribbon scissors because you've already got it stuck to the thing. You do not want to be pulling and fraying. So there we go. I now have a bow on the top with my little treat holder. So again, Advent calendar, treat holder, it's however you want it to work out. I was supposed to take pictures as I was doing that. The one step I needed a picture of for my PDF and I forgot to take a picture. It's a good thing I have all these spare pieces left because I'll have to do it again. So there we go. Here, let's do this. Mini Advent calendar, treat holder. If you guys make them, I would love to see the designs you come up with, how you do them. This is 6. I guess if you make 4 of them and stack 4 of them together, you got a 24-day one. Anybody want to give that one a shot? Let me know if you do. Post your pictures on this post with the instructions, and I would love to see your creations. All right? Take care, everybody. Have a great 2026. Bye.